Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Toonkind 12 FPS entitled Wait. Oh my, whatever. No, this is scuffed. We're running with it. Weighted scales. There. I got the words out. This is fine. We're
You're doing
keeping the scuff in,
amazing.
people. Thank you. And if you haven't noticed, that I am, of course, not here by myself. I
Nope.
am joined by the wonderful, the lovely, the talented, the
Oh.
fantastic.
No.
Yes,
Hush.
yes.
Hi. I'm Sotoro-Ma, or just Soto. Toonkind's local little shadow. I'm gonna be playing a funny hihu Dr. Murgai
Mm-hmm.
person. They are.
Can't gender them with
Shh.
masculine.
Shh. Ignore the
Hear you,
voice
audio.
behind the curtain. Ignore the voice behind the curtain.
This is important information.
Yeah, okay. It is important information. Kankal does not
Yes.
enjoy being masculinely gendered via like guy, man, Mr. and such. Fun fact for the day for you.
Mm-hmm.
They're a funny he who gendered individual.
Aha, they have the gendered, but not the masculines.
They have the he him without the rest of the package. Handpicked.
No, that's fine. Like, yeah, he's allowed that if he wants. That's one of the few things allowed, but he's definitely allowed that. But yes, and what would you say he is up to today? Because we've had a few things happen. We've had a few conversations. I'm guessing he's gotten some rest in.
My guess is it hasn't been too long since they've been dragged into Bond's mansion.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say like probably 3 days ish. So
Okay.
some rest was had.
Okay.
Probably it's just been stuck in bed rest because it's they're not doing too hot, but you know they're being
Yeah.
forcefully made sure to be self-cared.
Mm-hmm. Do you think they've gotten up and about yet, or still bedridden?
Probably, I say partway bedridden. Mostly, they can probably like stand and like walk around the room now. But only like
Mm-hmm.
in short and periods.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I've probably have convinced Lluvia to get them books.
Ah. Mm-hmm.
Not gonna
Mm-hmm.
lie, which probably has been what they've been spending more of their time doing since they're stuck there, and probably has
Mm-hmm.
been tinkering with anything that Bond has given them.
Mm-hmm.
Anything allowed.
Mm-hmm. 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 They probably haven't been allowed their little teleporter jumper thing back.
Oh, absolutely not.
For all I know, Banana still has that. She probably doesn't know what to do with it or what it does, but she might have it. But just to say really quickly, Banana's not here. If you have any questions or thoughts as to whether or not she's here or might be hiding somewhere, the answer is no. She's just not. She is not here right now. As to who I'm playing, don't worry about it. We're focusing on Kankal for the moment. We're focusing on the doctor. And I'm guessing it's about we're in spring, right? We're not
We're
quite summer, we're still in spring.
yeah. So whenever we ended, Sweetest Taste, it was the beginning of spring, like barely
Mm.
coming off from winter. It's still like chilly nights and such, but coming
Yeah,
off
yeah.
from winter.
That's fair. And that's the other thing. If you haven't listened to, Sotoro's fantastic, wonderful game, You're not going to have a lot of context for this, so go listen to that first or don't, I guess. Up to
Context
you. You won't have
clues.
context, yeah. But yeah, so what would Kankal be doing this day?
Um, Kankal probably has had been drawing on paper and such, having like multiple books sprawled around the bed, and have been like meticulously working on diagrams and such. Um,
Mm-hmm.
He's not letting the viewer see what exactly he's doing, but he's doing something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ah, fair, 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 fair. So he's sitting there in the with the warmer spring weather outside. Would you think they have a window open or nah?
Probably,
Yeah.
probably with a
Okay.
window open.
Mm-hmm.
Just I do know audio has told this to me that Bon has probably moved Kankal over to a different room with the ferry on view whenever it goes in and
Okay.
out. So like there's a little bit of that, like an ocean breeze with it as well, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Uh, would he like to make probably a perception roll?
Sure, I can do you a perception roll.
Yippee!
That is not a plus. There you go. That is, I forgot that you guys have a different.
Yeah, it's the backslash. It's the backslash.
20!
Oh, damn. 20. Yeah, he is perceiving right now. So he's sitting in his room, just like you said, doing his drawings, working on whatever he's working on. And there's the ocean breeze, the sound of a few birds outside and whatnot. And then suddenly there's a gust of wind, not like, a huge gust that threatens to, knock off a tree branch. Just, how it swirls and just builds for a moment and then kicks up the leaves and swirls them around in the air for a moment,
Mm-hmm.
almost like a dance. And then the leaves just kind of almost seem to pause where they are and then just slowly drift back down to the ground.
Cancall pauses, kind of like stares at the leaves.
They seem to be just leaves moving across the ground normally with the breeze back to where it was before, if disturbed at all.
Um, Let me see. Kanko's gonna cast See Invisibility.
Okay. He doesn't say anything.
Oh, great. This super is real good for the nerves.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's nothing to see. Well, is he like, does he have his head out the window, or like is he just looking out the window?
I'm
Like,
looking out the window, not fully having the head out.
okay. Um I don't know if this is more of a question for audio or what, but would he be able to see the front door from where he's at?
Um, Here's typing noises.
Happily wait patiently.
Okay, yeah, it's a
Okay.
mansion, big, it's big.
Oh yeah, he's not near the front door then, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
So would he even hear a knock at the front door, or is there like a bell system in place or anything? No, probably not. Okay. Well then, yeah, I guess Kankal neither sees nor hears anything.
Well, this bodes well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
with that, I feel like Kankal has now like started to like close up, like starting to like bookmark and close out books and like
Mm-hmm.
putting pages together. Probably like in some sort of order. Like flipping
Mm-hmm.
through them and then sometimes moving some of the pages around and making sure they're all nice and neat aligned. And
Mm-hmm.
putting the books at probably the nightstand and such. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's very much the sense of something's gonna happen, and I don't know what's gonna happen, so I'm just gonna stop the activity, quote unquote, that I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's fair. That's fair. Uh hmm. Would his room be on the ground floor, audio? Third floor. Okay.
Yeah, making it a bitch and a half to go around places.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I figured. I figured.
Okay, so third floor. Okay. Hmm. Probably eventually, as he's moving around and sorting things, he probably hears like something tap against the glass of the window.
Kankal looks over the window.
He doesn't see anything. Does he look out?
Yeah. Very hesitantly grabs the cane and like very carefully gets up from the bed.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely using the cane a lot more for leverage. And
Mm-hmm.
start making his way over to the window and looking out.
Okay. As he looks out, he sees a stooped figure leaning heavily on a walking stick, slowly shuffling along.
Hmm.
They seem to be dressed in tatters and have a robe up about their head, pulling it close as the wind tries to sweep at them again. And for a brief moment, they seem almost frail enough that if the wind picks up a little bit more, they might be, just knocked over from that alone.
Is this Kankel's issue? Kankel thinks about this.
Mm-hmm.
um, Kankel does not recognize this guy,
Mm-hmm.
whoever this is. And obviously, since no one opened the door, then there's probably no one available to open the door to. So it's not like Hancock can invite
Mm-hmm.
anyone in. So it's a shrug.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing that he
Mm-hmm.
can do anyway. It's not like he can walk down stairs right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's fair. That's fair. Sorry, just audios get well soon. I guess that's another question. Would there be somebody to open the door, audio?
You're not your type, but um Yeah.
Okay. If Lluvia isn't there and Bon isn't there, unless someone from Kankal's lab, probably not. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. Hmm. So as Kankal shrugs and moves away from the window, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
Uh he hears someone laugh, but instead of coming from the outside, it's coming from the inside of the place this time.
Like inside the where inside?
Um Not in his room, outside the
Mm-hmm.
room, somewhere. uh you can make a perception, see if you can tell.
Sure. We can do a little perception. That is no slash slash slash. I gotta remember that.
You got this.
25!
25. Yeah. You're guessing it's not by your room, like it's a
Mm-hmm.
distant sound. Um Maybe downstairs, you're not sure, you don't think it is, just somewhere out, maybe a few rooms away from yours. And it's also a child's laugh.
Kenko's looking at that and it's like, I don't think this place is haunted now, is it? Kind of, Kankle internally is just, this is some horror movie shit. First of all,
Mhm.
he knows
Mhm.
that he has experienced that kind of stuff before. More of them being on the other side of this, but now they're not.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so it's very much the case of, do I
Mhm.
do I go out and see what is up and get roped up into whatever bullshit this is, or do I just stay right here and not get roped up in whatever fucking bullshit this is? Because this is smelling like some kind of fucked up shit. Um,
Mhm. Mhm.
Actually, let me look through. Did I prepare? Oh shit, I didn't prepare anything that'll be useful for this kind of situation at the for now.
Oopsie poopsie.
Um Kanga's gonna go up to his door
Okay.
and he's just gonna lock it.
Okay. Okay.
um and he is going to go to his window and he's
Mhm.
actually gonna like look down and kind of guesstimate what would be the best path to climb down from if worse comes to worse.
Mhm.
He
Mhm.
is making a plan of, this is some weird shit. Um Probably going to cast sentient at some point to Bond.
Mhm. Mhm.
Probably another one to Lluvia at some point. But
Mhm.
right now,
Mhm.
uh he is going to uh again lock the door and walk over
Mhm.
to the window and just lean on the window, kind of like
Okay.
sitting on the open ledge of it
Okay.
and kind of
Okay.
like waits.
Mhm. I will let him use that Persepi roll over just a little bit and say he sees the old man, well, the seemingly old individuals now, like kind of sitting beneath a tree, like just slowly, carefully, like slumping down next to it, like they've walked too much. They didn't get to where they were going. Here's a tree. Here's a sit place.
Hmm.
They now sit, and and they're there. They're just kind of like flump down, and as he's sitting on the window, um, yeah, as Audio was saying, this is a private island. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. But as he's sitting there on the window's edge, he starts to hear, basically, for lack of better words, the patter of little footsteps starting to come towards what seems to be his general direction.
Great. Fun. Wonderful. What do we have? What do we have? I didn't expect some horror movie shit, so neither did Kankal, admittedly. I only prepared things that seemed useful while in bed rest, but none of this is
Mm-hmm.
helping.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna like, I guess at this point, just gonna keep an eye on the old man. Because
Mm-hmm.
obviously this is um
Mm-hmm.
there is some court of causation here, and
Mm-hmm.
this started with this guy suddenly showing up.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
He seems to be taking a nap at the moment, genuinely. You think
oh,
he's fallen asleep there?
hmm.
With that 26, I'm willing to say he's just like, no, no, I think the old guy's gone to sleep. He's having a nap.
Fuck it. All right. Kanko's gonna walk over to his stash of paper and pull up a clean paper out, and
Mm-hmm.
start writing something,
Okay.
and then going to fold it up
Mm-hmm.
into a paper airplane.
Okay.
Probably he's a nerd. Probably in a way that making sure that it has long flight time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if this reaches the guy walking over
Okay.
to the window. Would you say
Yeah.
this will be like a sleight of hand?
Sleight of hand or dex, yeah.
Okay, I'll go with sleight of hand. That is not. It's supposed to be an 8. That I fucking 23. It's 23, not a 24.
23, damn. That's still really good. Like, yeah, yeah, whatever you want that paper airplane to do, it can do barrel rolls as well and land exactly where you want it to.
Yeah, I have it be just land right on the guy's lap.
Okay. It probably lands on his lap. He doesn't move at first, but then you notice him jump slightly, like he's just realized it, and he's just like
Mm-hmm.
looks at it, just kind of like looks around a little bit, looks at the paper airplane, and then just like carefully sets his like walking staff more to the side a bit, and then just opens up the paper airplane.
Paper airplane just basically says, um if you require assistance, go up to this window, and probably like drawing a diagram a little bit of like where
Mm-hmm.
Kanko's window is at.
Mm-hmm. They look over it a bit, and then they like you can see them like start looking around. It's like Like this very withered, shaking hand comes up, and it's just like you can tell there's a literal like, okay, here's the first floor, the second, and then the third, and then they're like
Mm-hmm.
looking at the building, and eventually like you see them pointing up, and there's a pause. It's like you could practically hear them squinting, and then there's another like almost like kind of like jump slightly. It's just like, oh, there's somebody in the window.
Kankal just like looking out and it's like, yep. Mm-hmm. Doesn't like wave for anything. It's just like looking.
Mm-hmm.
Has the
And
pitter patter noises stopped?
um hmm. They have stopped for now. They have grown quiet.
Great.
And the old person just like staggers to their feet and just like gripping at the walking stick and just like slowly straightening. You can practically hear the bones popping from there.
Mm-hmm.
And then he kind of, shambles on over towards, and then you see him like looking up, looking down, looking left and right, as if he's like trying to be this like, hmm.
You can stay down there if you can't come up.
I knocked on the front door earlier and nobody
It's a
replied.
big mansion.
Oh, I see. Oh,
Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure its owner and my assistant are out right now. They should be back shortly, maybe. Um, is there anything you need help with?
oh, I was just hoping to find somewhere to rest these bones briefly and perhaps beg a piece of bread or a mouthful of water.
Hmm. Well, there might be a garden around the back, which I feel like you should be able to enter to if you require some rest. I'm not really the owner of this place. I'm just a guest, really. So I don't think I
Oh,
can invite you in.
oh, would you like to come out? It's a wonderful day out here. I wish I was younger to enjoy enough to enjoy it more.
Oh, if I could come out, I would have.
Are you trapped?
Kankal takes a moment with that, um, and shrugs. Eh, as sick is the better word for it.
Ah, I see. Well, sometimes the best thing for illness is, well, not all the time, but sometimes all you need is a bit of fresh air, the feel of the ground beneath your feet, and just a little bit of sunlight.
That's why I have the window open.
Ah, smart. Smart indeed. A true. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Kankal just like looks at this old man and is just like, look, if I could help you, I would have happily let you in and make sure you were accommodated and then let you be on your way. But I do have to wonder how you got into this place, this island.
Why? How I got in? The same way as anybody else, I imagine.
Yeah, how's that?
He motions over to where the fairies come and go.
Why here, of all place? This is private owned land.
Ah, I'm afraid I was unaware of such a thing. I genuinely do not mean to trespass. I was simply trying to find someone. And my my attempts brought me here, and well, I said I grew tired and needed rest before continuing.
Well, the garden should be open for you. I'm sure. Well, I'm not actually sure. I haven't been out in the garden before, so take your rest, and you can leave whenever you're resting up. If I could offer you water and food, I would have.
What of you then? What of conversation instead? Would you spend some time and speak to me?
Kankal kind of like raises an eyebrow, and he's gonna try and listen in again for like any of the messy, fucked up noises from inside the mansion.
Mm-hmm.
Do I roll a perception?
Let me see. Probably. Yeah, I want to roll a perception.
Okay. Oh wow, that's a bad roll. That's a 12.
Ooh, 12. No, you still don't hear anything.
Fascinating. Okay. Kankal just kind of like sighs and sits by the window. As best as he can. He can't really like crawl up there unless he really makes an effort.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sure. I'm just sitting here anyways. Not much I can do.
Truly the downsides for when you are ill. Though I suppose in my case, my age plays a lot more into it than any illness would.
Well, you'll be surprised how nimble some older people can be.
I would likely would be. Tell
Well,
me, if this is not your place, or are you a patient here, I suppose? You said you were ill.
yes. The one who owns this mansion is a medic. They have decided to take me in at the meantime. They have
I
also been
see.
helping a few others that I know that are in here, and they're also not quite ready to be walking around, as far as I know.
I see. I appear to have accidentally intruded upon hospital grounds. Oh. And again, perhaps if I'd known, I would have made an appointment instead. Oh, these old bones aren't what they all used to be.
Who are you? Or anything I can call you by?
Oh, when you get to my age, there's not much point in names. People tend to forget you as soon as they've met you.
Believe me, I don't tend to forget.
Really? Well, then what name would you give me to remember by?
You want me to give you a name?
Well, why not?
Well, let's talk a bit more first, and maybe I can decide on a name that's proper to refer to you as. How about that?
That sounds just fine. I've honestly haven't heard my name in years. It would seem strange to use it now. A newer one might suit better.
Fine. You say you were looking for someone.
Indeed.
Who would that be?
A child who has been lost for some time now.
Well, maybe I can write down a description.
Of course. Have you seen any children lately?
I have.
Hmm.
After all, there's plenty of children out there.
Ah, you are not wrong. It always lightens my heart a little to see them coming and going, running and laughing.
Hmm.
The one I'm looking for is just a little one, such a almost a slight of a thing. Her feet bare, her hair brown, and her eyes the same.
Hmm. I don't think I've seen a child with brown hair and eyes. Not recently, at least.
And yet I'm sure she came this way. Perhaps your paths have simply missed each other. Oh, it's strange, you know. You have not met her, but you have.
How can you know that?
Simply standing here and listening long enough. In this exchange, almost like faint leaves. Just a breath. It's there. I know they are. And yet you do not lie when you say you haven't met them. How strange.
Well, brown eyes and brown hair is quite common out and with real kind. And I'm sure there's plenty of children looking like that. So if I have, well, I can't really help that and not to remember a specific child of that. Maybe a personality or something distinguishable. Who knows? Maybe the kid decided to look different.
Oh, the child themselves. They are one who is quick and clever, and they smile and cry like all children do. scared of anything bigger than themselves. And while I myself appear real kind, the child I look for is Toon, though real enough in appearance to be mistaken.
Well, that narrows it down quite a little bit. Toonkind child of that. Unfortunately, you're describing quite a handful of children that act like that. Children are quite resourceful, after all, aren't they?
You are not wrong.
How long ago have you separated from this child?
Oh, it has been years now, I'm afraid. But no matter the time past, I have no intention of giving up on looking for them. Especially not now.
They could have grown up in those many years.
Ah, but this is a tune. I am certain when I say that they are likely the exact same age I last saw them.
That's quite some confidence.
Well, with age usually tends to come wisdom, not perfect by any means, but I have reason for my certainty.
Well, you know more than me about the child, anyways. And besides, tunes like to change. Especially with life experience, so I've heard.
Ah, that is very true. You're not wrong there. But then let me say something a little more specific. The only problem is I don't know if it would be anything you would have noticed. The child in question lacks a heartbeat.
You see Kankal, like, from shifting to being, like, a little bit of, like, just not super caring too much. Like, there is some care, but there's, like, a bit laziness. Not, I don't know if laziness is quite the right word.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, that kind of chill attitude
Mm-hmm.
has shifted more into being more intrigued.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, that is something interesting. Children I've, well, only two, blah, blah, blah. Uh, he's like thinking, he's like, I don't think I have checked every pulse of every child that I have seen.
Mm. See, that is so very understandable, and that's why I do not lead with such a description as anything that marks this child as unique and individual isn't something readily noticeable to most.
Is this child important to you?
Isn't any child important?
So they are.
You agree then?
I didn't say anything of agreeing to anything. I'm just stating that it seems that you are a firm believer of finding this child important.
Well, I certainly would not have come all the way to this. Well, I suppose even if I knew it was a private residence, I would still have come all the same, but more with a request to permit us to enter if I'd known in search of this child. After all, if they weren't important, I would not be looking for them, now would I?
In what way are they important to you?
Does that matter?
People can be important to others in different ways.
That is. I just want to see this little one safe and protected.
The ones inside this residence do have a heartbeat. So I don't think your child was quite here. But if I do happen to stumble upon a child without a heartbeat that I can check, maybe I can send my word to you.
Would you bring harm to this child if you found them?
Well, that depends on the child, wouldn't it?
You think so?
Well, if this child decided to bite me, then I will most surely push him away. If this child harms me or I find quite annoying, well, it depends actually on the kind of harm. And right now, unfortunately, well, fortunately, I don't plan on bringing harm to others. At least not purposefully in the physical sense.
And before now, would you have done such a thing?
Well, that information now is in the past.
And you think because it is in the past, it is gone?
Oh, absolutely not.
So you would harm a child and then?
Yeah, I have.
Well, if nothing else, your honesty is refreshing, I suppose. Not many admit to it. Though I suppose some would even brag, knowing there would be no consequences to bringing harm to them.
I'm just stating that because you asked. And right now, I'm quite in a predicament. So what's the use of lying right now? Besides, we're just strangers.
We are. We are just strangers. And yet, the more we stay, the more I seem to learn. And the more I unweave of what happened.
Kankal is just like looking at this man. And it's just kind of like internally thinking about what to say next. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
well, you didn't want to tell me how to refer to you, but obviously, you are probably not just a normal, real kind, huh?
What makes you think that?
Well, you know where this child has gone through, and you seem to have quite a lot of experience.
Experience does come with time now, doesn't it? I could simply be very, very old.
It's always the older ones that have fun little tricks behind their sleeve. They have history and stories tied to them.
Not too many stories of me, I'm afraid. Those have been lost and forgotten, I suppose, for the most part.
How old are you?
Truly wish to know.
Sure.
Well, I genuinely can't give you a specifics, mostly because I've lost track eventually, but somewhere around 600 or so.
Hmm. That's quite a lot of experience to see.
Hmm. I have been around for quite some time. There's much, much I have witnessed in my time.
How much longer do you have?
That's the question, isn't it? I thought that I would have maybe a handful of years or so, give or take, but some young ones have gone and tried to get me healthy again, seeing if I can't live a little longer for some reason that I cannot fathom.
I, at the very least, understand that sentiment.
Not many years left yourself.
Probably not.
Might I inquire your age?
It wouldn't matter.
Why is that?
It wouldn't matter.
A simple no would suffice.
Fine. Then no.
Very well, then. You put in a didn't matter, and all you're going to do is make me curious. Sounds like you're leading me into a topic of conversation. But fine, if you do not wish to tell me, I have no interest in prying it from you.
Hmm.
Oh, what to do, what to do.
Well, if you need money for the way back, I can probably. I have some and can. Kankal looks around the room. Well, I think it's considered rude to just throw him at you, so I can probably figure out how to make a paper vote or something.
That is so very amicable of you, so kind, and yet it makes no sense. Tell me, is it because of my age you are this way? Would you have been as generous if there was a child here in my stead?
It depends on the individual.
I see.
Besides, you caught me in a predicament.
Yes, I suppose I have, haven't I? Genuinely, unintentionally so.
What do you know
But
of me?
that's not important.
Well, now you seem to be making me curious.
Oh, as you might know, the older generation tends to know things, hear things as they were. Something about you, something about you. You and the harm you brought to others deep under the water, leaving nothing but a ruin in your wake, yet void of anyone that I would be looking for. But pain left behind. Pain, regret, sadness, anger.
The shine you're looking at is not from there, and it is not from here.
No, that is correct. Yet, as I linger here, you must forgive me, these old bones makes it hard to tell anything. Might I come up?
Not inside, but you can.
Simple enough. And he twirls his walking stick and then holds it horizontally, sits on it, and just gives a brief push with his feet. And he is very suddenly floating just a couple of feet in front of you. There now, a bit more convenient, wouldn't you say?
At least we don't have to shout out to hear each other.
Yes. My voice was getting a bit more raspy than it usually is. Now then, tell me how you harmed the children.
Which ones?
Any, all.
Why
It's
do you want to?
important,
How?
you see.
How is that important?
Mm. For all this world is, for all its gods and goddesses and deities, not everyone has someone to pray to believe in, to come help them when needed.
You think they'll help? Sure, some of them will, but that's not always the case.
And that is true. That is the point. And sometimes they arrive just a little too late. Too late to do anything, too late to change the course of history, too late to change what might have been. But tell me, does that mean nothing should be done? That one should simply shrug and walk away?
Some of them do that.
Some of them do.
Besides, I prefer more hands on. It's the people around you, it's the people in yourself that can make change. And if you can't, then that's too bad.
Oh, the accuracy of your words. I wonder if you know just how right they are.
It's what I've experienced.
And thus you pass it on to others as was done to you?
It was not passed on to me. And you're just lucky to get this from me, I suppose. I'm not really one to delve into religion, to gods, goddesses, and own those things that can control others like that. Control the fabric of anything like that. No. Suppose you could say I'm more based on science and knowledge and what other people can do themselves.
Yes, I doubt I probably look much weak hands and bones like this. He just kind of like holds up one hand, old, wizened, wrinkly, shaking as if he can't quite hold it still properly.
Mm-hmm.
You would think that there's not much these hands can do, wouldn't you?
I think they can do plenty.
Ah, you're certainly one of the few to think so. And it does make it a little more difficult again. You've been generous enough, and yet it does not take away past actions.
I don't expect it to.
Then perhaps we'll make it at least a little fair. Left or right,
What do you mean by this?
Well, are you left-handed or right-handed?
Both.
Hmm. Then I guess it's down to personal preference. Left or right? And he turns his hand to kind of hold it out towards you slightly.
What will you do if I don't accept?
You are under the impression that you have a choice here. The only thing you have, control you have here, is left or right. And if not, then I will make the decision for you. Or you could just say no, and you can see just what happens instead.
Kankal look at this guy, kind of tying in his grip in the cane. Who are you? I know you're not just any normal mortal, real kind.
That is a great understatement. I am someone who is often not to be trifled with, and while you have been generous enough with me, you have brought harm to others, to children. And I have no intention of letting that be.
Are you some sort of deity then? Protector of children? Long forgotten?
Oh no, I am something else entirely. I am something that sits between memory and forgetfulness. I am something that checks the scales and sees where things have been unpaid. I tip them in balance, although lately it is more one than the other. And there is much happening in this world and has happened in the last 400 years alone.
That's what tends to happen with worlds. Too much happens in such a short amount of time.
You are not wrong.
You say
And it
this is
is,
unbalanced. How is this unbalanced to you?
to me, I am not part of this equation, at least not in a way you might think.
Well, clearly, you have a hand. You're planning on doing something to even the scales.
You have caused harm.
Harm was caused to me, too.
And yet you gave harm to one that offered you none and gave none in return. And not
And
just to them, but to the others. They might have been the thread that drew me here, but I can tell it is not just one individual. Or did you forget that I spoke of the place beneath the water?
Kanko's gonna roll history.
Mm-hmm.
27.
Okay. What's he rolling for?
That's mostly of like trying to figure out who, like, I guess more of like remembering and reconfirming of like who this guy's talking about in the recent,
Mm-hmm.
times and such, and with the
Uh,
context clues being given.
mm-hmm. I'm willing to bet he's probably able to think there's possibly something up with the last group. Because it had something to do with the underground place, because that's apparently where this guy was before
Mm-hmm.
coming here.
Last group being, again, most recent stuff happened is sweetest taste stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that we can call like this is the most recent quote unquote group. Um well. They were able to get out. Everyone was accounted for, or at least from the previous group in there. Well, except for a few others that did not quite make it. But that'll be on them, wouldn't it?
Hmm. It would be. And you brought harm to those in that group.
Why do you care about that group? What are they to you?
And for the audience sake, I'm not going to do the whole cough hack wheeze thing, but he does start shaking badly for a moment as he almost sounds like he's coughing up a lung, and he presses the hand to his chest a moment, body shaking as the other hand grips the staff as he tries not to fall off. And his breath is a little wet as he breathes heavily for a moment, trying to catch his breath. Nothing. They mean nothing. This is merely business.
Kankal wants to do an insight roll on that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I keep going for the R. I keep going for the R. I need.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, I mean, you do need the R. It's just the backslash you want.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
19.
Okay, hang on. This is gonna be unfair, but it does not beat it.
Damn.
Yeah. That's a fucking low roll, too. Goddamn.
Mm-hmm. If only I've rolled a little bit high, a bit more higher.
Yeah! Yeah! You could have actually beat that. Holy shit. Anyway, whatever vibes you get on whether or not he's just being incredibly uh oh, I lost my words. Hang on. I need to realign my brain. Brain, come back. We're still in the FES. But yeah, you're whether or not you believe him, he does seem to be being honest.
So that group was just the last straw.
Yes.
That's quite a lot of straws.
You would certainly know, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Now then. Which arm do you think is closer to him?
I feel like ever since that statement, Kankal has like taken a step back. I'm not gonna lie, dude.
That's fair. That's fair.
So like he is standing not like fully away from the window, but like it is not, reaching from like
Mm-hmm.
a normal hand size distance. Normal
Yeah,
arm
that's
size
fair.
distance.
Mm-hmm. In that case, he's going to look at Kankal a moment and I'm not a vampire, you know. I don't need to be invited in. It is simply common courtesy that has me outside this window.
Can never be too wary about that.
Mm, understandable, I suppose, but I'm afraid if you think I'm unable to enter, you are sorely mistaken.
Kankal takes another step back. Look, you say you're here to weight the scales, but I don't know if you have the full picture. Even so, maybe you're just more partial to everything that has happened.
Does it matter?
You said you're here to balance the scale. I feel like that matters somewhat to that.
Hmm. But here's the thing. You clearly want them to be balanced in your favor. You know your side of it, and why the scales should tip a certain way. And I know another side, and why I think they should go another.
You're terrible at this.
Only because I choose to be.
Ah, so there is a preference. You are purposely making them go a certain way you want. This is why I don't
Oh,
like
no,
people
no,
like you.
no. Not in that sense, my goodness. As smart as you seem to be, you're not entirely intelligent, but then again, you seem to be quite younger than myself. After all, you've certainly made mistakes, considering you choose to harm children.
I didn't know children were so important.
So few people seem to realize the importance of children.
No, it's quite literal. We don't have children where I'm from.
Hmm. And in all your time here, you never picked up on anything.
They just come and go. I'm not really a people person.
Surprising, considering how much you seem to work with them.
It's more about the physical ailments.
Really now. More important, I take it.
Yes.
No matter the cost.
Yes.
Oh, what to do with you, what to do with you. And he's going to shift forward on the walking stick, resting
Mm-hmm.
his foot on the window frame, ducking a
Mm-hmm.
bit, and just kind of do a step hop into the room.
Kankal takes another step back.
Are you afraid of me?
More because I don't know what you're gonna do.
Well, I suppose I can understand that. Imagine the fear of not knowing what would happen, where you are, or even what to do.
I know that fear.
And imagine being so small and helpless that you can't do anything about it.
Well, obviously, they did something about it. At some point.
Hmm. Not nearly enough, considering they didn't even strike back.
You think they didn't strike back?
I know they didn't strike back.
Then you're talking about someone else.
I am beginning to grow wary of this conversation. Thus, a decision really should be made.
What are you going to do?
That is the question now, isn't it? I thought I had decided before I got here, and now it's quite a question, isn't it? What do I do? There are options, you see, so many options. But you know the saying, those real kind come up with, what is it, punishment fitting the crime, or some such. But then where's the fun in that?
What would be the punishment if you were looking for something different?
Well, at first, you see, I was thinking an arm would be enough. But considering how much you seem to prize all that knowledge of yours, it could simply just be gone. Or perhaps I should turn the clock back on you. Never allowed to be a child, perhaps that is something you should get to experience instead. or nothing more than endless nights, screaming in terror for that which visits you in your dreams.
Don't worry. I get plenty of that already.
Don't think it can't get worse, because then it will, I assure you.
I'm guessing I wouldn't be strong enough to fight you off.
Oh, you're more than welcome to try and find out for yourself. But unfortunately, it seems you're well aware that a frail old body can be more than enough to fight back.
It's always the older ones I tend to be more wary of. It means they have lived more, know more, experienced more, survived more.
And that's the unfortunate part, isn't it? Perhaps I should have left the little one find you first.
You think so?
All things considered so far, I think it would have been an interesting turn of things. And with that, you'd hear the sound of little footsteps outside again.
Ah, shit. It does internal, Kankal. Well, there goes that at the window.
Yeah, the window's still there. There's the old man standing in front of it, and the little sounds of little feet pitter-pattering outside come up to the door, and you hear the doorknob kind of like rattling, like it goes to turn, and it's like, the internal is like, and I've got wait, why isn't it working? Why isn't it working? I'm turning it.
I don't.
I'm turning it. The process of it, like it's locked. It's not suddenly unlocked. Whoever it is not processing the fact that, it is locked. It's like, I'm turning the doorknob. Why isn't it working? This is how doors work.
Rip.
Who lied to me?
Well, I see you're not alone. I figured there was some sort of causation.
Worry not. I simply brought them along with me. People tend to act differently around children and adults, after all.
So I've heard.
So you have shown.
It depends on the child, wouldn't it?
I suppose so.
I just get more annoyed by them. Children,
So
they
noisy.
don't. Oh,
Go ahead.
okay. Children, they don't know a lot. It's quite frustrating.
Ah, yes. Coming into the world knowing little to nothing. Making all that noise, crying and fussing, unable to do anything on their own. How frustrating it must be to be so small and useless, unable to help anyone around you. How frustrating indeed. Now then, are you going to make this easy on yourself?
What are you going to do? Have you decided on that?
Well, I was going to give you the decency of being allowed to choose, but it seems you are going to waste that, aren't you? You're going to try and wiggle out of it.
Who wouldn't? I don't know if you've met anyone who's willing to accept any sort of divine punishment or whatever you are.
Oh, you'd be surprised the people who come to me and what they ask for, and what they are willing to accept in place of what they are given.
Maybe you should get to know me better.
But why
Then,
should I?
to make it fair, isn't this about fairness?
You would think so, wouldn't you?
Well, one would hope it. But you're clearly showing that you're firm in something. Maybe if it was more fair, then, or at the very least, that you have seen both sides, I will be more willing to whatever you decide to do.
Okay, with that, he kind of hums and mutters and starts pacing back and forth on the floor. Not towards you, just the other direction.
Mm-hmm.
And as he moves, you see the room somewhat shift and move. You realize he is getting a bit taller, and the room is shifting to accommodate.
Fun. Kankal
Mm-hmm.
like, obviously is a bit startled, but does not show that he is a bit startled.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Fairness, fairness. To the damn hells with fairness and what it gets to those involved. Fairness is never fair. The fairness is what is given. He suddenly stops and turns with almost an audible snap, and he straightens, and all the old just no longer hunched over, standing straight, as if it was all an illusion, yet is still visibly there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think some perspective might be in order here. In that case, you will be able to learn said new perspective. And perhaps I will learn a bit more about you as you have so offered.
What do you mean by that?
Hmm. 1 second, because I need to send a DM.
Mm-hmm.
A motion to DMs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Take your time. I'm. Oh, actually, since we've been going for a minute, I might
No, yeah, get
an
some
hour and a
water.
half. Yeah, I could, yeah. So feel free to whatever. I'm
Yep,
gonna
yep,
just
yep.
gonna take. Yeah.
Quick break!
All right, we're back.
Back at it again, baby. My God,
Uh,
who did that?
Audio with the duck. That was audio. Look, audio. Banana's not here. I don't know what to tell you.
There's no duck. Amazing.
No ducks.
We have a
Oh, but yes.
audio
All right.
soundboard.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty.
All right, I gotta mute your soundboard if you keep this up. Okay. Right, back to the back to the serious conversation that was at hand. All right, I'm sorry, but this is gonna distract me. Okay. I will unmute that later. But yes. I promise. Okay.
You live for now.
Okay.
Hi, we're back.
We
We're
live
back
for
into
now.
the serious
Yes. Hi,
FPS,
we're back.
and we're doing some silly,
Yeah, the
goofy
serious-
times.
You gotta break it up sometimes.
Yeah,
you gotta
you
break
gotta
it up.
add some comedy into.
Yeah, a little bit of levity, but yes, serious conversation between just this old man and this fucked up little guy. TM.
TM. Just this doctor
TM.
guy. This is doctor
Just
person.
this doctor
Don't
guy.
worry. Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think you left off on the Ramblins. Ramblin'.
That's true.
Give me what you got, old man.
Now then. You seem to have a way of seeing things, but you are right, I suppose, in some regards to that which you say. It seems things need a slight adjustment, as it were. After all, if things do not fit the actions, then what lesson is there to be learned? What actions will change?
Well, I don't have the answer for that one.
Now that is a shame, isn't it? But here, rather than what I previously offered, it is this I will give you instead. You who have brought harm and pain to others will no longer be able to defend yourself against those that wish to bring that unto you. And if you raise your hand, or any means of yourself to strike at another to bring then harm, whether intentionally or not, you will feel that pain.
Does it have to be intentional?
No. Intentional, accidental. There's a lot of wiggle room otherwise, and there are those who are quite fond of making loopholes in the simplest of things. Intentional harm, accidental harm, that harm will be yours if you make it. And you cannot defend yourself against harm others bring unto you. In any form.
I would say that's quite a bit unfair, but I think that's the purpose of this, isn't it?
In your unfairness, you will be treated thusly, as those were treated before you. It is your turn to feel helpless as they had in the past.
Sure. You can say that.
Said and done, as it were. And there's kind of a roll of air in the room. It doesn't seem to come from the window. It just kind of sweeps around them almost like in one of those like little dustables, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And there's just a smell of freshly turned earth and leaves and just the faint guttering feel of warmth before it's quickly sapped away. And for a brief moment, Kankal is just very aware of his heartbeat. Like, you know, when you just, like, you could just feel it in your chest, almost like he's just run a mile or something.
Oh, don't like that. He don't like that. Not that he's showing it, but you know. Is that then?
Perhaps. But, I suppose I could leave it there and not address other matters at hand. However, it seems you're not the only one here at the moment anymore.
What do you mean by that? And I guess at that point, there comes knocking by the window and some shuffling noises as Lluvia climbs on in, her hands full of paper bags full of like groceries and such. And
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, "Okay, I got the groceries. I also have the things you asked me. Where do you want me?" And she stops. She
Mm-hmm.
sees the old man and Kankal.
Mm-hmm. The old man has turned slightly as if had been waiting for her to come in. Still stooped, still holding on to his walking stick.
Kankal, who's this?
There you are.
You
Consider me a visitor.
sure? Lluvia, you should probably just go through the front door. What's
Now, the girl's already here. Why dismiss her so readily? Isn't she part of all this?
You're not going to do anything to her, and she's not a part of anything.
Lying does you no good.
She has nothing to do between the two of us.
Do you say that for the truth, or simply to spare her?
She has nothing to do with us. What is going on? And Lluvia very carefully sets the grocery bags onto, like, probably like a table or something. There's probably a table in the room.
Yeah. Well, he's got his desk in there. He tidied it up
Yeah,
a bit before.
true.
Yeah, there's space. Yeah, there's space. There's space. Come now. It is being said that it is better for you to leave, and yet I think you should stay. What say you, little one?
I want to know what's going on first.
Just a follow up to some things that happened. Certain discoveries were made at the bottom of a body of water. Activities done there.
You
Ones you might very likely know of.
as the old man is saying that, Lluvia, like hair starts to like drip a little bit in the parts that do like have the texture of water, look
Mm
like water, start to drip a little
hmm.
bit,
Mm
and she seems on guard.
hmm. Mm hmm.
Kankal, is this one of
Now.
your? No.
No, keep going, keep going.
Kankal,
Sorry.
is this a friend? And Kankal, um, kind of just standing there, both in the sense of like wanting to move, but also just there is someone in between the two of them.
mm hmm. Mm hmm.
Um, so they just sigh and just, Lluvia, this is Hassan. They're just here for
He kind of.
just a shake-up.
Precisely that. Though, if you're unhappy with the results, again, there are always things to be bargained for a better result.
What do you mean by what's no? Explain it to me. What is this shake-up?
They look to Kankal for a moment to see if he is going to speak first.
He is looking away.
That's fair. Well, this checkup is a little bit difficult to describe, but I will do my best if you'll permit. He says to Lluvia,
Okay.
I am here to check if things are in balance, as it were. And if they are not, I am one who helps try to shift them back into such a place.
And you see Kango kind of like huff at that, a little bit of rolling his eyes, but not saying anything. And Lluvia is kind of like frowning a bit, and she's like, "Balance? There's nothing
Hmm.
really going on here."
Oh, no, not here. Of course not. Back at the waters, as I mentioned, all those people and children under the waters.
They're gone now.
I wouldn't exactly call that not now, yes. Does that erase the past, the pain of what has happened?
They
Should it be ignored?
they left by their own free will. And I don't know what you're doing to Dr. Kankal, but I really suggest you explain it to me in simple terms, or just what is this balance you're trying to make?
He shifts and turns a bit and takes a small step towards her, still keeping Kankal in his, at least at the edge of his vision, but more, facing her as he's talking to her. Well, as I've stated, all those experiments, the pain brought to others, it's not fair now, is it? The hurt children, the tears, being trapped, not understanding what's going on. What would it be like to feel that way, knowing you cannot stop what is about to happen to you?
What did you do?
I just gave him something to carry, to understand what it feels like to be in such a position, and to make sure that he does not hurt another, at least not without knowing the feel of that pain himself instead.
A curse.
A very simple way of putting it, but effective nonetheless.
Why? I
To make sure it doesn't happen again,
well, it's not going to
so that
happen
he
again.
understands the importance of it. And how would you know?
Cuz we're right here now.
A different location, nothing more. How can you be so certain?
They already are not doing well. Isn't this just
Then it would behoove them to not continue what they have done before. And besides, it won't be much of a problem to them, so long as they do not cause others harm. Harm in turn will not be done to them.
it's honestly better than the other outcomes. It's fine. No one's harm. What do you mean by harm to others?
If he were to strike you, You would feel no pain, but it would feel to him as if he had been struck himself.
And what about others? What if something happens? What if he gets hurt before?
He is not to defend himself. He cannot defend himself.
That's cruel.
Could the same not be said to those who were in his care, who also had no means of defending themselves?
That has happened. And he already faced the consequences of it.
Really, now. And what were those consequences?
Dying.
Dying is a very simple matter.
And he has already been making up for it all. They've already been trying to make up for it all, Lluvia. Just, it's fine. No.
And it gives a low hum, and he walks shakily over to Lluvia. Not like toe-to-toe, but just, up to her.
Mm-hmm.
And
Kankal
how tall
does.
is...
Oh.
Hmm?
Kankal does like.
I was just going to
step
ask
a
how tall
little bit-
Lluvia is.
Yeah, Kankal does step a little bit closer, and Lluvia is around like 5 foot, 5'1".
Oh, okay. So the old man's definitely taller than her. He's
Mm-hmm.
probably going to have to stoop a little bit more. He's a beauty. What say you, then, of your pain and your connection to it? Is it really enough? And what of the others? And what they suffered? Would you tell them the same?
They were given freedom now. We've been working on that plan for so long. They agreed to it.
And yet he still brought pain to others. During all of this. Hurt
Those
people.
people deserved it.
Child, not them. Not them, child. I'm so certain you know that of which I speak. But worry not if you wish to not speak it aloud.
They stopped. Isn't that evidence enough that they won't do any more harm?
I wish it were. Too many times it has not been the case. Too many times people are prone to fall back onto old habits. Find loopholes to take advantage to say just this once, or that it is different enough. What if
What?
it happened again? What then?
I'll stop it.
Would you now? And how would you do that?
I'll ask.
It is never that easy.
What if it was?
Ah, that is a question now, isn't it? What if it was? But what if it wasn't? There is no way to know now, is there?
I know.
Tell me, then. Speak. If you will. I will listen. After all, you were one of the ones down there, were you not?
Yes.
And after all that happened, you say this is enough.
Nothing will
What
stop
happened to
whatever
you?
happened before. But things can change. Yeah, I do agree it was bad before. But things change. And what gives you the right to give to balance things? What gives you the right to decide on this?
That. Now that is a very complicated question. Much of it is part of what I am,
What are
as
you?
if my bones compel me. Just an old man
Mr. Hansen, I think
who's
that
been.
is false.
Well, I don't often care for these pronoun things.
Oh,
You may call
apologies.
me madam if you wish, or it's what are the other ones? They, them, it's,
Mix.
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 That's it.
That's the honorific
Sometimes,
for that.
hmm, sometimes I care for them, and sometimes I don't.
Uh,
Many use sir as a default, and as long as somebody's not being insulting, I don't usually mind either way.
well, do you have a preference right now?
Sir is fine to keep using, or he, him. There's no need for certain statues or honorifics. After all, they are simply words, and I am still me regardless.
Then who is the you?
Apparently not an old man.
Obviously.
And yet my life has spanned over, oh, let's see, 400, 600 years now? And you still would not call me old?
Wouldn't it depend on what you are?
Rightly so. I could be a child in the eyes of some, an old man in the age of others, and something else entirely. It all depends, doesn't it?
Well,
I am an adult, though.
you told me you're not a deity, so
This is true. I am no god or goddess or deity, anything in between. I am simply me.
then what gives you the right to do this?
As said, it is somewhat a part of me. Down to my bones, as it were.
So you're forced to do this.
In a sense, yes.
Then if you're trying to make things fair, why didn't you come here sooner? Or there sooner?
I was not aware of it, and as I have said before, gods and deities and such cannot be everywhere at once. Nothing is perfect. Nobody, not everybody has a moment where somebody shows up right when they need to be, no matter how many of us there are. I am late. Far too late. But does that mean it should be ignored and dismissed? Should nothing still be done? Should it all be swept under the rug?
It wasn't. Nothing was swept under the rug. At least, not for us. Sure, for anybody in the surface, they didn't know anything happened. But for us, we know.
And what is it you know, little one?
That things change. That the pain stayed, but we were given hope. We got a new chance. Mix Hassan,
Is that...
do you want to know something? Lluvia? No.
I do.
Lluvia gives like a glare at Kankal.
Let the child speak.
Thank you. All of us who were there, we were offered help. And they gave it to us. It was... I will admit that it wasn't good help. At times. A lot of times. But we were offered help when no one was to take us in. At least that's for a lot of the cases. Not all of them. We didn't know what we got ourselves into, but also we chose to do it so. And afterwards, things changed after the fire.
When it was bad, when it hurt, did they listen? Did they stop?
No. But that was then.
You asked.
Are you saying that someone can't change?
A person can change, but does that mean that which they have done in the past should just be forgotten?
It won't be forgotten. That is... Your... You're making changes that already had. You're making changes to things that already had consequences. And were learned. I like to think we're learned from. I know they were learned from.
Is that enough to outweigh it?
It's a curse, right?
That it is?
There should be a way to lift it.
Usually these things come with some kind of caveat of sorts. I could intentionally fashion one, I suppose.
Curses are meant to be broken at some point. Isn't that how the fairy tales go? The person who is cursed learns something in turn.
You are a wise little one, aren't you? And he gives a light tap of a finger to her nose, smiling gently.
She wrinkles her nose.
He smiles a little bit more at that. Ah, very well. You are certainly correct. Usually a task done in exchange. Correct?
Yes.
Well then, is there something you would propose, little one?
Lluvia like starts looking around, panicking internally a little bit. She looks at Kankal, which Kankal, I will say, has been a little bit on guard with how close the old man is to Lluvia.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It writing.
Writing. Simple enough. Is that your request then?
Unless you have another idea.
Do you really wish for the ideas to be left up to me?
Well, I'm not saying that we can choose it, but if you'd like to share, maybe?
An alternative would likely be doing tasks for myself. Quests I would give to him, and that which he would fulfill. But writing could also serve in that manner. Tell me, Kankal, what is it you know?
A lot.
And if you were to say, write down everything you know,
Maybe specify on what exactly I know.
why specify? Where's the fun in that? If you know it, you know it. And if you don't, you don't.
Would you want these sent to you?
Hmm. Yes, actually.
What language?
Any. Although I wouldn't mind Sylvan, I suppose. If
I
you
can
can
do
write
that.
in it, though, I will accept it.
I know Sylvan.
Hmm.
Would that be good for you? And she kind of like has that question like hanging for both of them.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. At your request, I can make it work.
I used to work at these kind of things, so it'll take a long time. Would you have any
However long.
preference on what you want to read first?
For that, I would need to see into your mind and know what you know.
You can just give a broad categorization.
Start at the beginning, then. Your beginning.
Done.
Hmm. And what say you, little one?
I. Okay. But you've been awfully rude. Did you even get invited in?
I was invited up, though somebody else was already in. And there's a slight fumble at the doorknob again.
You kind of like looks over and it's like, oh.
They can't quite get the lock, though.
No luck picking?
Hmm. Perhaps it hasn't occurred to them yet.
Ah.
The fact that they can reach the doorknob is enough, though. I suppose they've grown.
Well,
Unless you want to let them in.
Lluvia looks at Kankal on that, and Kankal is just like shaking his head.
Also just gives like a click of his tongue. Such manners. A little one running outside, and all you want to do is lock them out.
Well, it sounds like they broke in first.
A child. If you wish to judge them for such things, though, I will not stop you.
That's a child? And Yuga seems to like immediately perk up and like start heading towards the door.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't stop her. He just
Uh
watches Lluvia go.
you see Kankal like hesitating but not really do anything, and she goes to unlock the door and opens it.
Mm-hmm. The minute the door is opened, there is just this peal of laughter as the sound of footsteps immediately runs into the room and is just kind of running about, kind of Helter skelter. Oh, yes, there they go. Yes, congratulations, you made it into the room. Good job and all that.
Are they yours?
And, hmm, in a manner of speaking, I'm looking after them for now. I didn't want to quite invite myself in from the get go, but I looked away for a moment, and there they went. There's just like another laughter and just more running around. It's like, yes, yes, you're quite proud of yourself, aren't you?
Do they look like anything?
That's the thing. Anytime you try to look at them, it's like your eyes can't focus on it. You
Fascinating.
you know that there's somebody or something there, but you can't see it. It's almost
Mm,
like a sudden blind spot in your eye, and it's only
fascinating.
wherever this child is. And you can hear them laughing, but anytime they seem to speak, it's almost like a faded echo that you can't quite pick up.
Mm, mm-hmm. Well, they seem sweet.
Oh, yes. Little and full of energy, and there's a sudden pauses, there's like a thud, and they just look to the floor and it's like, this is what you get for running around like that. And there's some
Um,
mumbling. It's like, well, are you going to stop running then? And then they immediately start running again. That's what I thought. Well,
I,
anyway.
I will say, Kankal had since Lluvia moved away from our mysterious individual.
Mm-hmm.
He they have stepped closer towards Lluvia and more like behind her, in a sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She
The
doesn't
second
seem
he
to
sees this,
mind.
he
She doesn't seem to
mm-hmm.
mind it though.
Mm-hmm. The second he sees this though, he's just like, no, no, there's no need to hide behind a child.
I'm not hiding behind a child.
Hmm. What would you call it then?
Why don't you make your way out?
Hmm.
Unless you still want that bread and water.
A fine offering, to be sure. Genuinely. But unless the little one permits, he says, and he looks at Lluvia, I can be on my way.
I can send you with bread and water. We don't own this place, so technically I think
Hmm.
this uh you're we're guests, so we can't really invite people in.
Hmm. And here for a moment I thought we were all breaking and entering. That certainly would have been something.
Well, do you still want
Well,
bread? I got it from a bakery.
I will I will take whatever you offer, little one.
Okay. And Yuya kind of like looks up at Kankal, and he hesitates for a moment but nods as Yuya makes her way by her own towards the grocery
Mm-hmm.
bags and like starts pulling out um bread. It's specifically what she gives to him is gonchas, which is a specific kind of bread that has like a layer of like sugary coating.
Hmm.
And she gives him 2 pieces.
Okay. He holds out a shaky hand to accept them and then leans down a little bit, and one of the pieces seems to kind of quote unquote disappear, or you're at least not able to see it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just this hot, soft, happy, almost like cooing noise. Hmm. And Hassan looks at them and then looks at Lluvia, and then there's a brief brush against her mind, almost like a silent request.
Mm-hmm.
Does she accept or?
She accepts listening to it, I suppose.
Yeah. What she feels as she accepts is just this warmth and comfort as the connection takes hold, and an almost reassurance. I know it likely seems I've been quite rude in my ventures here. I apologize to you, little one. I'm afraid I cannot to him, for the pain of which he has caused, and I have known others have felt. You have a big heart. Might I leave something with you to be certain that if this does happen again, you may request my assistance?
She accepts. Um, I feel like it's more definitely the vibes of, at least to her, of like, that's never going to happen. But
Yeah.
sure.
Mm-hmm. And she feels something. Like he doesn't move any closer. He's still standing where he is holding the bread.
Mm-hmm.
And but she feels like a gentle brush against her palm. And there's a little gray down feather. Simply hold it and say my name. And while you may not believe me, I hope that you never have to use it.
I won't.
I am tired of being. Sorry. I am tired of being right in these situations. I would like to be wrong for once.
Well, you're going to be.
Take care, little fledgling. And luck to you. Stay safe, won't you? You and the others who made it free.
Don't worry about us. We made it work by ourselves.
It's hard not to worry, especially when you arrive too late to do anything. More than this, anyway.
I hope you have a good day.
I hope you live and live happy.
I'm planning on it.
He smiles genuinely at that. And it's hard to tell if he has more he wants to say or not. But eventually he gives a nod of his head. And he turns and he walks away shakily, still leaning heavily on his walking stick. And he just goes and stoops a bit more and steps up on the windowsill and just seems to step out. And there's no thud, there's no real rush of wind. There's just silence and the feeling of something gone.
Lluvia goes out to the window and kind of like looks around and doesn't see anything really. I'm
Nope.
supposing.
Yep, just the usual outside, the 3 floors down, the grass, the trees. You can hear some birds now. They were quiet before. Maybe a boat in the distance. Chatter of people far away that you can barely make out.
Mm-hmm. With that, Lluvia breathes and she goes to close the window. And she turns to face Kankal. We need to talk. And I think that's a good place to end it.
Whee! Sounds good to me. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this FPS. We hope you take care and have a good time zone and enjoy this.
Have snacks.
We love
Have
you.
Food. Have a good night. Have a
Have
good
snacks and
morning.
food. Have good time zone. Yay! Good time zones. Bye.